we all sort of know what energy is and what vibration is because these are all concepts that are taught within almost every tradition and religion, at least that I've encountered. You notice that no matter where you go in the world or what you're studying or what sort of teachers you're around, they all believe in vibration. They all believe that there are different qualities of energy. So it's a universal concept and it permeates every single aspect of your life experience. Because it's not just about energy, it's not just about being positive or being negative or having high energy or having low energy, but it's much more complex than that. And I think understanding that complexity is really the path to anchoring it into yourself. So that's what I'm going to teach or talk about in this video. What spiritual vibration is, how it actually works, what we're experiencing, and what you can do to actually pull the levers on this yourself. Because I can guarantee you that if you are suffering a lot in life, if you see the world as a miserable place, that's not necessarily the objective reality. What you experience is really based on your antenna, your consciousness, and what quality of energy you are calibrating with. Because if you live in a heavenly existence and you see life as an astoundingly beautiful place, and you feel so much love and gratitude and compassion and all of these things here that you just don't even know what to do with it, then that's because your vibration is on that wavelength. Your vibration refers to your state of consciousness, or your energy, or the frequency of reality that you are connecting to at that particular point. To really understand this concept, you need to understand that everything is made of energy. The fundamental baseline level of reality is energy. And we even sort of break into this with quantum mechanics, with string theory, that the deepest level of existence, at least that we know of, is energy. And everything has a vibration. So, for example, I'm experiencing a vibration right now. This wood has a vibration. This dog has a vibration. These mountains have their own vibrations, as with every tree and plant and thing that you can see, thing that you can touch or perceive. But everything has a different vibration. So it's not uniform, it's not just one quality of energy for everything. Otherwise, everything would be totality. Everything would be exactly the same. But it's not, because energy manifests in different ways. Energy manifests the things that we can see and we can feel and we can touch. It also manifests the more incorporeal things, such as our thoughts, our emotions, our mind, our consciousness itself. And the higher vibrations or higher frequencies are aligned with a more expansive, lighter energy. So for example, energies of love, energies of gratitude and compassion, these make us feel good. We consider them to be positive. We consider them to be uplifting. So inherently, these are high vibrational energies. They're more connected to source, or we could say to God, or to spirit, however you want to interpret it. The lower a vibration is, on the other hand, corresponds to contraction, corresponds to heaviness, and things like suffering, misery, fear, hatred, resentment, guilt, shame. These all correspond with low vibrational energy. These feelings, they feel heavy, but it's not just emotions. It's also your thoughts, your mindsets, your behaviors, your conduct with the world. For example, if you're a good person or you're an honest person, let's say, an honorable person, then these attitudes or behaviors are associated with a higher vibration, a higher frequency, which in turn will affect your entire ecosystem. If you are a dishonest person, a dishonorable person, a self-centered person, you are caught in your ego. If you have characteristics and traits and you behave in ways that are commonly deemed as non-virtuous or perhaps negative, or you could say that they're just traits that don't make someone a good person, then generally these correspond to a low frequency. And in a way, when you start operating from this conduct, so you start screwing people over, you start being dishonest, you start becoming more self-centered, then that brings down your entire system, because it is reducing your entire vibration. And this is why these things are associated. It's why someone who is a miserable person often acts in ways that are aligned with misery. If someone comes from a place of fear, they are also often caught in their ego. They are often also self-centered. So these variables can act independently, but they do influence the entire collective of who you are. They influence your beliefs, your thoughts, your mindsets, your attitudes, your behaviors, your emotions. They all sort of work together to create this ecosystem. And you could say that is your vibration, at least right now. Because vibration is a spectrum. So on the extreme end of a low vibration, we could say it's hell, essentially. It's a hellish state. That's what hell is, at least I believe. On the other extreme is heavenly states, is bliss, is absolute divinity and love and connection with God, and all of these things that make us feel absolutely profound and amazing. But as human beings, being this ecosystem, we're generally somewhere in the middle, and we fluctuate. So our vibration changes from day to day. It can go lower sometimes, and this is when we start seeing the world as a more miserable place. We might start getting caught into limiting belief systems or in the victim mentality. And we might start saying, why me? Why is this place so bad? Why does life suck so much? Why is life so hard? And of course, because you're in that vibration, it's influencing other things. So you're also experiencing maybe guilt or shame or resentment or maybe hopelessness about your life and its situation. It corrupts your mindsets and your belief systems. You might start believing that the world is a bad place. You might start believing that, how can I do it? How can I possibly achieve anything in life? Life is a grind and there's no chance for me. There's no reason why I can do it. And of course, it also influences your mindsets and things, how you perceive the world. You start seeing the world as a competitive place. It starts putting you into this frame of survival where your ego starts to come out. So all of this stuff, all of this negativity, regardless what form it manifests, that is a low vibrational energy. It's a frequency of reality that we're attuning with. It's not the objective reality. So if you see the world as a horrible, horrible place, maybe you see it as a sort of hell. That's not the objective reality. And you need to recognize that as well, because the only way to come out of that is to recognize it, to work on it, to heal the wounds that are causing that, and naturally start working on your vibration to bring it up, to create a healthier baseline. And if you generally see the world as a great place, and you generally feel a lot of love and a lot of gratitude, and maybe you have this perception in life where everything's open, everything is full of wonder and possibility, and you can do anything in the world, because why not? Realistically, why not? Why not you? Why can anyone else do it? So if you're operating from this frame of mind, genuinely, then your vibration is probably at a higher level, at a higher frequency. You're attuning to a different frequency of reality that already exists in this energetic mesh. It's already here. But your antenna, your consciousness, is attuning to that. So you start seeing the world as a heavenly reality or a heavenly place. So the slower the vibration of energy, the denser your experience of consciousness becomes, the heavier it becomes. And that manifests in every single way and form, essentially. The higher the vibration, the more you start to see reality as the beautiful place. The more you start to live a positive life in all of its manifestations. And naturally, your vibration, or we could say the vibration of your entire ecosystem, fluctuates. So sometimes you go into these deeper, darker states of consciousness where life sort of feels like it sucks, and you might not feel very optimistic about things. You might be experiencing a lot of painful emotions, or thoughts or beliefs during these times because your whole system has come down. So you start resonating with a different frequency of consciousness. And it's not accurate necessarily to say that these low vibrational states are bad, because they're not bad. Everything serves a purpose, in a sense. We tend to go into these low vibrational states to learn, to grow, because this is where a lot of growth and wisdom and understanding lies. If we were always in this high vibrational state, then life might feel great all the time, but we might not learn that much. It might not actually pull the levers we need to grow as individuals. So naturally, throughout life, we shift into these high vibrational states where life feels good. We shift into these lower vibrational states where life doesn't feel good. But when we go into these low vibrational states, you need to see it in a way that I'm here to learn something. This is something that I need to experience at this time, otherwise I wouldn't be here. This is an important mentality to have, and to try and have a fairly objective view on it as well, just by recognizing that, when your vibration is low, it pulls in all these other aspects as well. So your beliefs are probably going to start sucking. If you start feeling like a victim, it might not be the actual reality of the situation. You might just be feeling that way because your vibration is low. So it can sort of be a little bit hard to get out of when you're in these low vibrational states, because it is sort of like this pit or this well. And it seems like the more you get sucked into it, the easier it becomes to amplify that and to continue it. This isn't the way reality actually is. It's just your frame of consciousness, what the frequency of reality that you're attuning to at that particular moment. And you're there for a reason. You're there to learn something. You're there to grow. You're there to do the inner work, to do the shadow work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. So treat it as a lesson. Treat it as a phase of your journey, not the entire journey. And if you see it in that way, then it will be easier to heal, to work on yourself, to work on your own personal development, to work on your growth, and to leverage every opportunity that you have so that you can actually start raising your vibration and attuning with these higher frequencies of consciousness. Before we wrap up, I just want to give you some sort of concrete steps on what you can actually do to raise your vibration if you are feeling, a little bit in a down mood or whatever. So the first is to just have that awareness and understanding that it's okay. Don't judge yourself for it, because that's just adding more fuel to the fire, so to speak. Like, for example, right now I'm sort of somewhere in the middle. I'm not necessarily in a high vibration. I'm not necessarily in a low vibration. I'm just somewhere in the middle where I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's definitely some challenges. There's some things happening in life, but generally I feel okay. So, it's worth just being realistic about where you are right now, not dramatizing where you are or the situation that you're in, but trying to see it objectively, because your own mind becomes your own worst enemy. So if you allow yourself to get caught into this spiral, and you start blaming the world, you start blaming life, you start calling yourself a victim, and you start influencing everything else, and it just gets harder and harder to step out of. This is how people get stuck in these pits, because they allow themselves to amplify what they're feeling and what they're believing in the moment without realizing that it's temporary. Personally, spending time in nature is also massive when it comes to vibration, attitude, and all these things. If I feel like I'm starting to take on baggage and I'm starting to get pulled down into the negativity of the world and myself and whatever, then the first thing I'm going to do is go for a nice long walk, preferably in nature, preferably by water if I can, or maybe I'll climb one of these mountains. I get it, not everyone has access to so much nature, but even just going for a walk. Often, like, a lot of technology and social media and scrolling through all of this bullshit, that can definitely bring down our vibration. This is why we often feel shitty when we're just consuming. We're consuming media, and it's easy to get stuck into those states where it's like, oh, what am I doing? This is so boring. Why am I doing this? But when you go for a walk in nature, it sort of resets that. It reconnects you to earth, to reality in a sense. It grounds you, which is super important to bring your vibration back up. So make sure if you start feeling like you're in a rut, just get out as much as you can. Go for walks as much as you can. Do some exercise. Get out in nature. And you'll notice over time that as you do that and you process your experiences and you're thinking while you're walking, even if they're not very desirable thoughts, you're just processing, then that will naturally bring up your vibration and you'll start feeling better. You might feel it immediately. Like nowadays, I feel it immediately when I step into nature. It's like the moment I walk into a nature reserve or something, I feel my energy change. I feel like I'm absorbing energy from all of the plants and the trees, and it almost instantly takes off the baggage. But if that doesn't seem to be moving the needle, then one lever you can pull is prayer and worship and gratitude. So if you spend some time in the day, let's say you're feeling like crap, you don't see the light in life anymore, then spend some time each day praying. It doesn't matter who or what you're praying to necessarily. It could be God, it could be Shiva, it could be Allah. Depending on your beliefs, it doesn't really matter. But if you fully express yourself and you pray, and it's sort of like you're removing that baggage and putting it onto a higher force, something else that can take it from you. And it really does feel like that, because when you actually are genuine about your prayer and you feel it deep in your heart, you do feel some sort of release, some sort of emotional release. Then this works in a similar way to worship. That's really just amplifying gratitude or creating an object for your gratitude. So when I feel good, when I feel relief, think about it yourself. When you feel relief, naturally you probably are like, oh, thank God, thank you, thank you, thank you. You feel you want to release this energy in some sort of form. You want to push it outwards, this gratitude that you feel, this relief. So worship is essentially just putting a face to that, and you put it onto something. So for example, if something good happens in my life, or if I get like a little bit of relief from something, let's say I'm suffering a little bit or I'm going through some hard yards, and then something happens and I feel a bit of relief, I'm going to be thanking God. I will really marinate in that sensation of gratitude and say, thank you, God, thank you so much, God, and just repeat it over and over again, really making sure I'm tapping into it. And, it doesn't need to be something big that happens. It could be little things. This is really, like, people who have, I think, the highest vibrations, who are very, spiritually advanced, I think they're very good at leveraging gratitude within the little things. So, for example, you go down to the store and they have the chocolate that you wanted to buy. And it's just sitting with that feeling for a second. Being like, thank you, God. Thank you that this chocolate's here. Even if you go through a difficult situation in life, just sitting with that feeling and being like, thank you for the learning. Thank you for everything that I'm experiencing. Thank you for the difficulties, because I know that I'm growing as a person through them. The last thing I'm going to mention here is to audit your environment. So if you are constantly around negative people, or low vibrational people, or toxic people, or bad environments where there's a lot of drama and a lot of bullshit, then that is inevitably going to bring down your vibration as well. Because it really becomes a skill to maintain or hold your vibration when there's a lot of external forces that are bringing it down. So make sure that you consciously align yourself with places and environments and people that are actually good for you. Because you can be the best person in the world, the most positive person out there, but if you're constantly around toxic, negative people, then that is going to take its toll over time. If you have any questions, or you want to maybe learn a bit more about how vibration works and the difference between low and vibrational states, I've expanded on this massively in my Guide to Vibration, which is an article I wrote, and several secondary articles that are tied to that as well, on different topics about vibration and how you can raise your vibration and things like that. So I've added that in the description if you want to have a read of it. Otherwise, feel free to send me an email, feel free to leave a comment, I'll do my best to get back to it. And don't be a stranger. So thank you very much, my friend, for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, take care of yourself. I will see you in the next video.